Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you how to install Windows on TOSHIBA Dynabook. So in order to, you can install Windows from a USB drive, and there are several possible reasons why you may do it. For example, if you don't have any system on, or if your system is broken and you just need to reinstall it fully to get the fresh system, or you don't have access to the account logged in, then surely you can also just reinstall new Windows, but remember, it will erase all your data that you may possibly have. And in order to begin, we need to have, first of all, a USB drive that we'll need to plug in. And if you don't have access to the system on this laptop right now, then you will need another Windows PC to make a bootable drive on. Besides that, this installation process is not gonna be the worst one, but it's gonna be quite complicated, so bear with me and follow the steps exactly. I'm gonna put another laptop here, which I'm gonna use in order to make the bootable drive. So first I'm gonna plug in the drive to that laptop. Then just go to the browser. For that you'll need internet connection, so let's search for Windows 11 ISO, and you should go to the official Microsoft.com website. Then you can just click on, scroll down to download a Windows 11 disk image. Here select the download and click on download now. Now select the language. It is important to choose the correct one, because later on, even if you change it, then it won't change completely. It will only be partially changed in the system, unfortunately. But then click on 64-bit download, and in the process, I'm gonna pause that downloading because I already have the file on my laptop. You should also go to the rufus.ie, this exact website. As you can see it right here, it's the rufus.ie. Now scroll down to downloads and select most probably the first version. If it won't work, then try getting the third one, but most probably it'll be the first one. And then open the Rufus tool first, once the Windows 11 ISO is downloaded as well. Select the correct drive that you have plugged in. If you have several ones here and can't decide which one is which, I would recommend unplugging all the other USB drives that you may have, so you just don't get confused, because in case you do, then you'll erase all your data on the wrong drive. It is important to notice that it will erase everything on your drive. I'm gonna select this one, then click on select here and select that ISO file that we have downloaded. Now it'll take a few seconds to scan the image, and just click on start. And here we can remove the requirement for the 4 GB plus of RAM, secure boot, and TPM 2.0. I don't really need to do that because I meet these requirements. You can also remove the requirement for an online Microsoft account, and in case you do, then it's gonna be pretty great because it just, you can keep connecting to the network in the installation process of Windows, although I'm not gonna remove this requirement because honestly I still will want to connect to the network, since I want to have the updates done at the very beginning in the process of setup. Then I'm gonna click on OK, and now we need to wait until it finishes. And also it's important to notice that your Toshiba has to be plugged into power, so it's great to plug it in now. So it has at least a bit of a charge before we begin. And now the drive was created, so we can just unplug it from this laptop. Although there is one more thing that I would recommend doing before we unplug it actually. So I would at first take the Toshiba, flip it over and look at its back to see its exact model. So in my case it's the A50 J1BY, and on this other laptop or on the Toshiba itself, if you were doing everything on Toshiba now, I would recommend searching for the drivers for touchpad. Of course, you don't have to do it, but it's just gonna make everything a bit easier later. If you install the Windows, then you'll be able to open that driver. So you can just type in TOSHIBA Dynabook Tecra, then that exact model with the number, and search for the touchpad drivers, but I'm not gonna do it. So if you don't know how to do it yourself, don't worry, we're gonna get to that later. It's gonna be a bit more complicated, but just more universal as well. So I'm gonna close that laptop now, and let's take the Dynabook, and first we should plug in the drive while the laptop is fully turned off. This is important for it to be fully turned off while we do that. And then just press on the power button, and as soon as you release it, start pressing on the F12 key on your keyboard. This is the F12 key, until it shows a screen with the selection of a bootable device. I'm gonna show you how does this screen look. By the way, make sure that your laptop is fully plugged in to the charging the whole time. Okay, it didn't work, as I can see, because it has booted to Windows. And this, I do have Windows, so that's why it has. This usually occurs when it was shut down through the system. So what I would recommend doing is pressing and holding on the power button for quite several seconds, because this light, see there are two lights, the power and the turn on state. It's white right now, it has to go fully off. So I'm gonna just press and hold for quite some time the power button. If the display goes off, then it doesn't really mean anything. It just has to turn off the light on the left side of the chassis. Okay, now it is turned off, and I can turn it on with the power button after 15 seconds of waiting, and start pressing on the F12 several times. It's gonna take quite some time for that F12 to catch. If it starts loading a circle at the bottom, then it means that you failed and it will boot into system. But in my case, you can see I can now use the arrows to select USB memory and click on enter. And now it should be loading because it's loading the installation screen. I'm gonna turn the brightness down just a bit, and you can notice that the touchpad isn't working. And this is very normal. The touchpad won't be working until we get the drivers which is gonna happen at the very end. So I'm gonna just tell you all the keys that you will need to use in order to go to further steps. So here, to move between sections of items, click on the Tab key. You can see now I have the legal selected. As I click on Tab, I'm moving to Next, then Tab again, and I'm again in Language to install, then here, here, here. If I click on Shift and Tab at the same time, I just go back. So go to the previous selection. Then within a certain item that's selected with the Tab key, you can use the arrows to move between certain items within that section. Now, as I have everything set the way I want it, I'm gonna move to Next, then click on Space to select that. Then you can change the keyboard or input method also with arrows. Click on Tab until you get to Next and click on Space. Then leave Install Windows 11 selected and go to I agree everything will be deleted, select that with Space and go to Next and click on Space. Now the license agreement, you can also go with Tab to accept, or if there's a button that has a letter underlined, you can, instead of going with Tab, you can just click on the left Alt on the keyboard and that letter at the same time. So here I need to just click on the left Alt and A to accept. Then here we have our hard drive and the USB drive. So I'm gonna just delete all of the partitions on the disk 0. I can just go with arrows, first to the partition 1 and click on Alt D, left Alt D to delete partition. As you can see, here is the delete partition and it has the D underlined and that left Alt is here, so I just click on Alt and D. Let's now continue with the next partition. You also should delete that. It's just, I think, the easiest way to delete every partition until you only have the disk 0 unallocated space. Once you only have the disk 0 unallocated space, make sure you are pointing on it with arrows. So here you can move with arrows and just click on Alt N to go to Next. Or if you have a different language, of course, it will have different letters underlined, so you should follow that. Now I'm gonna click on Alt-E, Alt-I to install, and we'll need to wait now until it installs Windows 11. It will restart probably 2 times usually, and later on we'll just get to the setup, and in the setup there are gonna be a few things worth following as well. And now the Windows was just installed, so we can start the setup, and the touchpad still won't work, so you just need to use the arrows to select the country or region, then click on Tab and yes, with the space of course. Then also you can select the keyboard layout or input method. I'm just gonna click on Enter to go further, then I'm gonna skip with space of course, and now I need to connect to a network. I think in most cases on the Toshiba laptops it will actually have the Wi-Fi drivers. That's really great, and I'm really happy with it. Although if for some reason there is a problem with the Wi-Fi drivers, you will need to connect with the Ethernet cable. I'm gonna show you how the Ethernet cable looks. You just need to either have it and connect it to your computer and to your router, or if you don't have it, then just find someone that has it. Besides that, it's gonna be pretty hard to just omit that. So that's what I would recommend. Now I'm gonna select the network I want to connect to, so that's gonna be this one. Maybe with the Enter this time for some reason. I don't really get these keyboard things, because on Windows it's sometimes really different than it should be. Then just enter the password, click on enter, and now go to tab, to the next, and click on space. Now it'll start checking for updates and hopefully it finds them. When it finds them, it'll start installing them. Once it does, you'll just continue to the next step, so you shouldn't press on anything during that update process. Just wait and make sure your PC is still plugged in all the time. Now it asks you if you want to name your device, and honestly I would just skip it with the tab key and space, because it requires a restart and I don't really have time for that now. And you can, if you really want to rename your device, you can do that later. But now there's really lots of restarts later ahead of us, so I wouldn't bother myself with it. Then I'm gonna select setup for personal use and click on space, then click on tab to go to next. And it'll start checking for Windows updates again, and probably it'll also find them. And if it does, then it'll take a bit longer than the previous update. And now the update is completed. Most probably the touchpad won't work, but in my case it does. So that's quite interesting. So I'm gonna continue using the touchpad, but of course if it still doesn't work, then you can just continue using the keyboard. And here I need to log into the Microsoft account, since I didn't remove the requirement for it. And now I can also set up the face recognition, so let's do it. I just need to look at the camera. And now it's completed. I can click on next, then create the pin to my account. You can include letters and symbols, but I only use the numbers in the pin, so I don't really need to do that. And then click on OK. Now there are gonna be a few more questions, like the location. You can allow it or not. I highly recommend reading it yourself and deciding on your own whether or not you want to allow or disallow something. Now, if you on your Microsoft account have any backup from previous devices, you will see this screen. And you can either continue to restore backup from that recommended device, or you can click on more options, then select a backup from a different device, or what I'm gonna do is set up as new PC, because I don't care about these backups and I just don't want to waste time on it. Now there are gonna be a few more less important questions, and I'm gonna skip that part. Then I'm gonna skip it as well, but of course feel free to set up any of those that you want. And post setup, we're gonna just update everything to make sure that we have the newest drivers. By the way, I recommend declining Microsoft 365 because it costs, the family version costs $130 per year and the basic $2 per month. So I'm gonna decline them so I don't accidentally start paying for something that I don't really use. But if you use it, you can of course keep it. And now it's finishing, so I'm gonna provide a description on how to update the drivers without having the touchpad access. But before you make an assumption that you for sure don't have the touchpad access, I would do one more thing, which you can see there is the touchpad button, F9. You can click on Fn, which is here, and F9 at the same time to be sure that the touchpad hasn't been disabled. So you can see now I can move the touchpad and now I can't. So I'm gonna click on that again and you can see it works. Though let's enter the settings like we didn't have the touchpad, because at first when I tried installing that earlier, it didn't have the touchpad at all. So I'm gonna click on the Windows key on the keyboard and type in settings, or whatever else the settings may be in your language. Then click on tab until you're pointing on home, and with arrows go all the way down to Windows Update, click on enter and click on download and install all. When it prompts you to restart, click on that restart. After a restart, go into settings again and check if the Windows Update has any more updates, and continue until all of the updates are downloaded. Then if it still doesn't work with the touchpad, remember to try, after a restart, try pressing on the Fn and F9 to turn on the touchpad. Try moving it. If it still doesn't work, click on that again and see again, and just continue until the touchpad works. So I'm gonna click on the space to download and install all, and that's gonna be basically everything. That's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.